The genius of The Matrix is it proved that movies can make us care about dry, philosophical ideas. In the Wachowskis' 1999 film about a programmer who realizes he's living in a computer simulation, the deepest intrigue doesn't lie in what happens, but in why it happens and what it means.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
At the heart of this story are questions like, what's real? Do we actually want the truth? And can human beings be free? Such abstract inquiries become tangible, personal, urgent. As Neo progresses from nihilism to enlightenment and becomes the One, the only person with the potential to free human beings from their machine overlords. This tightly structured hero's journey is the philosopher's journey.
There is no spoon.
Packaged as a gripping, action-packed Hollywood flick. 20 years later, here's our take on the deep meaning of The Matrix and why it's a guide to freeing your mind, which can help us uncode the modern matrix of our times.
Free your mind.
Okie dokie. For my mind.
The first Matrix movie has an age-old message. The truth shall set you free.
It was he who freed the first of us, taught us the truth.
Let's take a look at Neo's steps on the road to freeing the mind. On closer inspection, we can identify 7 major phases: dreaming, destruction, reconstruction, self-knowledge, doubt, belief, and love. Step 1. Dreaming of the question.
Have you ever had a dream, Neo, that you were so sure was real? What if you were unable to wake from that dream?
Neo's quest for truth begins in his dreams. When we first meet him, he's asleep, while his computer runs a search for a mysterious figure named Morpheus, fittingly named after the Greek god of dreams. Someone in Neo's computer, who we later learn is Trinity, tells him to wake up. Neo's not quite ready to do this yet, and the 2 sequences following this lead back to him waking up in bed, unsure if he's just had some strange nightmare. Neo complains of an inability to tell waking life from dreaming.
You ever have that feeling where you're not sure if you're awake or still dreaming?
And when he finally meets the god of dreams himself, Morpheus speaks to Neo's feeling of surreality.
You have the look of a man who accepts what he sees because he is expecting to wake up. Ironically, this is not far from the truth.
The twist is that it's Neo's so-called real life up until now that's been the dream world.
You've been living in a dream world, Neo.
Neo's mentor Morpheus represents intuition and faith in the unseen forces of the world, in direct opposition to the machine projections that use the eyes and rational arguments to enslave. His ship is called
The Nebuchadnezzar.
a nod to an ancient Babylonian king who, in the biblical book Daniel, gave the wise men of his kingdom the impossible task of not just interpreting his dream, but also telling him what the dream was. So, The Matrix tells us that trusting our intuition and dreams is the beginning of the path toward truth and mind freeing.
You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life.
This mysterious inner compass points us in the right direction before our rational minds can catch up.
Such shaping fantasies that apprehend more than cool reason ever comprehends.
Neo's intuition and dreams lead him to form a question. Interestingly, we gather that Trinity and the others began their journeys with the same question.
You know the question, just as I did.
What is the Matrix?
So what starts all these rebels to be on the path to freedom is a growing awareness of this invisible thing that surrounds them, the Matrix.
That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind.
The Matrix?
The ability to sense the Matrix, even though nothing about it can be perceived by the senses,
A prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch.
might remind us of the story about the fish who don't know they're surrounded by water.
How's the water? And the 2 young fish swim on for a bit, and then eventually one of them looks over at the other and goes, "What the hell is water?"
To have the initial capacity to free your mind, you have to question the obvious, what's right in front of your eyes.
The point of the fish story is merely that the most obvious, important realities are often the ones that are hardest to see and talk about.
You think that's air you're breathing now?
The next phase of Neo's enlightenment is destructive truth.
It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
shattering the illusions that blind and enslave us.
You are a slave, Neo.
What's untrue must die. This phase begins with the choice Morpheus offers Neo to remain in his comfortable pre-enlightened state,
The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe.
or to wake up.
You stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Until this point, Morpheus's team and Neo are just meeting each other inside the Matrix. But the red pill allows Morpheus's team to locate where Neo's actual body is in the field where machines grow living human beings to use them for energy. As Neo's false conceptions of reality are torn down,
This can't be.
Be what? Be real?
the disruption to his mind is so violent that he almost dies.
He's going into arrest.
This is the first death and rebirth Neo goes through in the film.
Am I dead?
Far from it.
Like a baby, he must learn to use his own body
Your muscles have atrophied. We're rebuilding them.
and to begin thinking for himself, as symbolized by seeing through his own eyes.
Why my eyes hurt?
You've never used them before.
Morpheus offers an overview explanation debunking the narrative of the Matrix.
The Matrix is a computer-generated dream world, built to keep us under control in order to change a human being into this.
It's unspeakably difficult to accept,
No. I don't believe it.
but much harder to shake are the little unconscious beliefs the Matrix has conditioned into him. Neo's training is a process of unlearning. Morpheus tells Neo
Don't think you are. Know you are.
because the thinking that's holding him back is an obedience to the rules of the machines and their agents.
Like gravity. What you must learn is that these rules are no different than the rules of a computer system.
This is something we can all learn from, even if we're not yet ready to reject the laws of physics. Are we not also unnecessarily restricted by what we think we must do or can't do? What we deem possible? At the beginning of the movie, the power of the agents seems unbelievably giant. They are manifestations of the system itself.
Yet their strength and their speed are still based in a world that is built on rules. Because of that, they will never be as strong or as fast as you can be.
And the implication is that we too have unlocked power waiting for us if we unlearn our limitations. Once we start to unbelieve.
Do you believe that my being stronger or faster has anything to do with my muscles in this place?
After this period of destruction comes the third step, reconstructing a new reality from scratch. This is visualized in Neo's training sessions with Morpheus against a blank white background, where they have the ability to summon anything they can think of.
This is the construct. It's our loading program. We can load anything from clothing to equipment.
For the first time, he is discovering agency. This phase has a lot in common with the philosophical stance of existentialism, which grapples with the idea that human beings really are free. At first, humans tend to despair when they realize their freedom, as they find themselves in a world without given meaning. But existentialists don't see this as depressing. They view freedom as an empowering value because we get to create our own meaning. One of the fathers of existentialism, Friedrich Nietzsche, conceived of a grand hero he called the Übermensch, or Overman, who would create new life-affirming values to give higher meaning to our human existence. Sound familiar?
There was a man born inside who had the ability to change whatever he wanted, to remake the Matrix as he saw fit.
The Matrix is essentially about Neo becoming the Übermensch, or the One.
You are the one, Neo.
This question of whether he's the One brings him to the fourth phase of his truth journey, self-knowledge.
It's Latin. Means know thyself.
Morpheus brings Neo to visit the Oracle, whose name alludes to the Greek Oracle of Delphi. The Oracle seems to tell Neo that he's not the One.
But you already know what I'm going to tell you.
I'm not the one.
Sorry, kid.
In fact, though, what she really tells him is that the answers are within him.
Being the one is just like being in love. No one can tell you you're in love, you just know it.
We can't arrive at self-knowledge through others. Neo can't know he's the one because anyone else says so, and that's why the Oracle strategically shuts down the grand narrative others have been building around Neo's specialness.
If you are, it's a very exciting time.
No one's ever made the first jump.
I know. But what if he does?
Instead, she prepares Neo for a choice he'll soon face.
In the one hand, you'll have Morpheus's life. And in the other hand, you'll have your own.
Her words might strike us as off-topic. Why is she focusing on this instead of talking more about what we all came for, a declaration of Neo's important identity? But the information the Oracle gives him isn't an answer at all. It's a test through which he can define himself.
She told you exactly what you needed to hear. That's all.
While it's tempting to know how things are going to turn out, we're not supposed to rationally comprehend the facts of our future before it comes to pass. Prophecy is only valuable insofar as it provides useful information we can draw on as we form self-knowledge from within, through walking the walk.
Neo, sooner or later you're going to realize, just as I did, there's a difference between knowing the path and walking the path.
In fact, we get a subtle hint that the Oracle does believe Neo will develop into the One. She alludes to Trinity's feelings for him.
I can see why she likes you.
Who?
And we later learn that she predicted the man Trinity loved would be the One.
The Oracle told me that I would fall in love and that the man that I loved would be the one.
It's pretty clear from early on that Neo is going to end up being the One. The real question is why he is. Is this the story of Neo discovering he's the One, or deciding that he is? Are we free to decide our own fates?
Do you believe in fate, Neo?
No,
Why not?
because I don't like the idea that I'm not in control of my life.
When the Oracle anticipates Neo knocking over the vase,
And don't worry about the vase.
What vase?
she raises this unknowable issue of whether the future is decided or chosen.
What's really going to bake your noodle later on is, would you still have broken it if I hadn't said anything?
The Oracle's role in this story isn't to resolve this duality, but to reframe it. She disproves our assumption that fate and freedom are an either-or.
And she's never wrong.
Try not to think of it in terms of right and wrong. She is a guide, Neo.
She predicts patterns while leaving room for the randomness that stems from choice. Her vision of destiny, an ever-shifting inkblot test.
Do you think you're the one?
When she meets Neo, her inkblot test of him reflects that he doesn't believe in himself, so he's not there yet. The necessary elements are present, but Neo will also have to decide his destiny.
You got the gift. But it looks like you're waiting for something.
The fifth step of the philosopher's journey is overcoming doubt.
You have to let it all go, Neo. Fear, doubt, and disbelief.
Neo's doubt is symbolized by his fear of falling. This is seen already when he's still in the Matrix.
There are two ways out of this building. One is that scaffold, the other is in their custody.
And pre-liberated Neo caves to his fear. During his training, Neo faces another great height. This time he makes the choice to jump, but he doesn't make it. So the fall demonstrates that he doesn't truly believe in his own capabilities just yet.
Everybody falls the first time.
The problem of doubt is embodied in the character of Cypher, who whispers in the Resistance's ear, tempting them to submit to the inevitable victory of machines.
I'm tired of this war. I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of this ship. Being cold, eating the same goddamn goop every day.
Cypher rejects the truth,
I know this steak doesn't exist.
choosing instead to descend back into hedonism and ignorance.
Ignorance is bliss.
Through Cypher, the Matrix challenges its own thesis that mankind truly wants liberation and enlightenment.
I choose the Matrix.
The character forces us to consider, which would we really choose? A difficult but free life, or blissful subjugation?
I know what you're thinking. Why, oh why didn't I take the blue pill?
Many of us secretly prefer the lie, and will even fight to preserve it, if that illusion maintains our materialist comforts and protects us from suffering.
Most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system, that they will fight to protect it.
The Matrix suggests that most of us already are choosing the blue pill. As we learn in The Matrix Reloaded, only 1% of people have minds that reject the Matrix.
99% of all test subjects accepted the program as long as they were given a choice, even if they were only aware of the choice at a near unconscious level.
Cypher wants badly for Neo to fail.
You never did answer me before. You bought into Morpheus's bullshit.
We get the sense he may know to some degree about the Oracle's prophecy that Trinity would love the One, because he keeps asking her if she thinks Neo's the real deal.
You don't, do you? All I want is a little yes or no.
Even though he believes in nothing, he craves certainty in this belief.
Morpheus was right. And there's no way I can pull this plug. I mean, if Neo's the One, then there'd have to be some kind of a miracle to stop me.
In pursuit of this certainty, he murders his fellow rebels and nearly sabotages their whole operation before he's killed. Yet, Cypher's own death here is redundant. He was already about to essentially kill himself by erasing his agency and consciousness to become mindless fodder for a machine network.
I go back to sleep, and when I wake up, I won't remember a goddamn thing.
Cypher's desperate need for proof that humankind's situation is truly hopeless stems from his knowledge deep down that what he's done is evil. Choosing ignorance is enabling oppression. Anyone who's plugged into the Matrix can be taken over by an agent at any moment, making them a tool for the system of slavery.
The very minds of the people we are trying to save. But until we do, these people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy.
No amount of rational knowledge can overcome doubt. It can only be defeated by Neo's next stage, belief.
I know that's what it looks like, but it's not. I can't explain to you why it's not.
The moment when Neo discovers belief is the point when we feel the plot start to turn in his favor.
That's why I have to go.
Why?
Because I believe in something.
After Morpheus is captured and tortured for the access code to Zion, the one remaining free human city, the Resistance considers pulling Morpheus's plug. No one has ever beaten an agent, so they're certain it's impossible to do so. Neo then decides to do the impossible: save Morpheus.
I believe I can bring him back.
It's no accident that this is the choice the Oracle signposts for Neo. It's the crucible in which his true nature will be forged, determined, revealed. He still doubts he's the One.
I'm not the one, Trinity.
Neo doesn't have the ego to abstractly believe he's the savior of all humankind, but when the mentor he loves and admires more than anything is in danger, he unconsciously and irrationally believes in his ability to save him, showing that he does know he has the One's power, he just doesn't know he knows yet.
So what do you need, besides a miracle?
Guns. Lots of guns.
The three main characters, Morpheus, Trinity, and Neo, are all driven by beliefs.
Morpheus believed something, and he was ready to give his life for what he believed. I understand that now.
Meanwhile, Cypher's weakness comes from the fact that he lacks belief. The very last thing he says is,
I don't believe it.
As Stephen Fowler observes in Beyond the Matrix, just as Neo's name is an anagram for one, Cypher's name is an alternate spelling of cipher, which means zero. It's fitting that these two opposite characters correspond to 1 and 0, the two digits of the binary system which computers operate in. This suggests that ultimately what seems to be an array of choices boils down to just two: believe in something or believe in nothing.
Believe it or not, you piece of shit, you're still gonna burn.
The Matrix posits that faith is much stronger than mere knowledge. It's something no one can take from you.
Let me tell you what I believe. I believe Morpheus means more to me than he does to you. I believe if you are really serious about saving him, you are going to need my help.
That no one can argue you out of.
If you don't like it, I believe you can go to hell.
Steadfast belief in his mission makes Neo able to dodge bullets like an agent can.
How did you do that?
Do what?
You moved like they do.
Yet Neo's still hit by a bullet, symbolizing that his self-doubt lingers.
Wasn't fast enough.
Trinity comes to his rescue,
Dodge this.
foreshadowing how she will provide the secret weapon to complete his philosophical journey soon after this. When Agent Smith takes over a homeless man's body in the subway tunnel just after Trinity and Morpheus have exited, due to his growing faith, Neo does the unthinkable. He stands his ground against an agent. At this point, you might say that Neo's belief makes him an even match for Agent Smith, but he's not yet surpassed the agents. After all, they wholly believe too. As software programs, they have this belief written into their code, the equivalent of their DNA. Smith keeps calling him
Mr. Anderson?
which pushes Neo to cast off his slave name and claim his true identity.
My name is Neo.
He is at last trusting in his individual power.
What is he doing?
He's beginning to believe.
Even though Neo wins this fight, the agent can just stop the train and take over another body. Thus, Neo runs again. But just before he's about to exit the Matrix, he's taken by surprise. He flatlines. In this moment, the Oracle's prophecy that either Morpheus or he would die comes true. But we're about to find out her word's deeper meaning was obscured by technicalities. Neo wasn't yet the one because he had to die in this current form and be reborn as someone new. In fact, his name, Neo, is a prefix meaning new.
But it looks like you're waiting for something.
What?
Your next life, maybe.
The last and most crucial step of Neo's transition into the One is love.
You can't be dead. You can't be. Because I love you.
Another fact that holds true until this point is that death in the Matrix kills a person in real life.
The body cannot live without the mind.
However, the physical sensations in the Matrix are an illusion, so Trinity's love in the real world, coupled with Neo's exceptional ability to separate his real mind from his Matrix body, leads to his resurrection.
Now get up.
Belief made him as powerful as an agent, but belief powered by love is what makes Neo unstoppable. Now he fulfills Morpheus's earlier prediction.
That I can dodge bullets?
I'm trying to tell you that when you're ready, you won't have to.
Armed with agency, self-belief, and love, Neo sees through the agent's illusory forms to the pure code they really are. This is a visualization of seeing the truth in full, seeing into the very essence of things. Now that he can glimpse this total truth, he can bend the code to his will. And after he goes inside an agent to destroy it from within, finally the agents run from him. During this sequence, we hear holy music, underlining that this infinite level of insight is godlike.
He is the one.
We've seen hints throughout that Neo's story can be interpreted as the Christ narrative.
Jesus Christ, he's fast.
He dies and is resurrected, thanks to the love of Trinity, or
The Trinity?
You can also associate the three central characters loosely with the three figures of the Trinity: the Father,
Morpheus, you're more than a leader to us. You're a father.
the Son,
Hallelujah. You're my savior, man. My own personal Jesus Christ.
and the Holy Spirit. The nameplate of the Resistance's ship alludes to the Bible verse Mark 3:11, and whenever the unclean spirits saw him, they fell down before him and cried out, "You are the Son of God." Neo is betrayed by a Judas figure, and most fundamentally, he's a radical who comes to spread a world-altering truth in the hearts of people. Neo's defeat of the agent signifies the triumph of human values, culminating in love, the most irrational value of all. At the very end, Rage Against the Machine plays. The significance of this isn't just fighting the machines in this story. It's telling us to rage against what seems certain, impossible, set in stone. And in the last shot, when Neo flies upwards, this imagery is reminiscent of the Buddha, who could ascend to heaven after reaching enlightenment. The image is a visualization of how accepting truth allows us to fly free.
A world without rules and controls, without borders or boundaries.
Neo is not on the surface the most exceptional person.
Not too bright, though.
So it might strike us as jarring that Morpheus and others are so immediately convinced of his special nature. Why this guy?
Go on your left. No, your other left.
But there's hidden significance in the fact that Neo is an everyman. The point isn't that he's the only one, it's that we all have a one within. Transcendental poet Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote, "God dwells in thee. Clouded and shrouded, there doth sit the infinite embosomed in a man." If we walk these steps towards enlightenment, we can begin to access the power of seeing infinite truth.
Do not try and bend the spoon. Only try to realize the truth.
And we can learn from Neo that thinking deeply is the secret to waking up and really being alive.
There is no spoon?
Then you'll see that it is not the spoon that bends, it is only yourself.
God, truth, the one, whatever you call it, The Matrix sends this profound, deeply inspirational message. Within yourself is untold power waiting to be unlocked. The Matrix Reloaded ends by once again undermining everything we thought we knew about the world. Neo is, we learn, not the one.
This is the 6th version.
5 months before me.
He's merely one in a series of systemic anomalies, an eventuality the machines have already planned for.
The prophecy was a lie. The one was never meant to end anything. It was all another system of control.
This choice was, to put it lightly, controversial when The Matrix Reloaded was released in 2003. But fan disappointment was part of the project from the beginning. The Wachowski sisters made a conscious decision to subvert the message of their popular and acclaimed first installment.
A world without rules and controls, without borders or boundaries.
The second movie is deconstructionist, and it assaults all of the things that you thought to be true in the first movie.
But what does that mean? And how does it explain the film's frenzied conclusion with Zion on the brink of extinction and Neo in a coma? Let's dive into the architect, the problem of choice, and the ending of The Matrix Reloaded. For all its mind-blowing reveals and philosophical questioning, the first Matrix movie is ultimately a typical hero's journey. Thomas Anderson, a seemingly ordinary man, discovers that he is a long-prophesied hero who will free the human race.
When the Matrix was first built, there was a man born inside who had the ability to change whatever he wanted.
But this isn't a story about just any hero. It's one about a mythical, even religious figure.
The Oracle prophesied his return, and that his coming would hail the destruction of the Matrix, end the war, bring freedom to our people.
Accordingly, The Matrix ends with Neo literally dying and coming back to life, imbued with the powers of the savior of humanity.
He is the one.
And when The Matrix ends, he can manipulate the Matrix at will, can stop bullets with his mind, rewrite code while jacked in, and force the once unbeatable agents to run from him. He's a literal superhero.
He's doing his Superman thing.
At the beginning of The Matrix Reloaded, the Wachowskis take pains to show us how powerful Neo has become in a fight against the previously invincible agents.
Upgrades.
By the end of the fight, Neo is literally hovering above the Matrix. He is now seen as a higher being.
Well, you got me out. You saved me.
For the humans of Zion, Neo is almost a god.
Neo, please. I have a son, Jacob, aboard the Gnosis. Please, watch over him.
Even skeptics like Link have come around.
It's after being on that ship and seeing Neo do the things he can do, I gotta say, I'm starting to believe him too.
Neo's abilities make creating stakes in The Matrix Reloaded difficult for the Wachowskis. After all, he can emerge victorious in practically any scenario. The movie's biggest action sequences have to aggressively sideline Neo, whether by putting him 500 miles away from the city,
You're not gonna believe this. You're all the way up in the mountains.
Really?
or by forcing the Resistance to complete several objectives simultaneously. Unlike Smith, Neo can't be in two places at once.
Neo could take them both out easier than we could.
There's no time.
Still, for all that The Matrix tells us that the One is an unbeatable, invincible savior, the characters in The Matrix Reloaded spend a lot of time undercutting Neo's apparent omnipotence, reminding us that, when it comes down to it, Neo is still flesh and blood. First, the agents decide to fight him because, after all, they're not bound by being human.
Do we proceed?
Yes, he is still
Only human.
When Neo fights the Merovingian's goons, he wins, but he bleeds.
You see, he's just a man.
And in the biggest single fight of the movie, Neo reaches his limits. Though he manages to fend off hundreds of copies of Smith in an epic brawl, he eventually gets worn down and tired, because that's what happens to human beings.
Are you all right?
Why does this matter? The Matrix Reloaded ends with Neo confronting a vision he's been having since the beginning of the movie, Trinity dying.
Still can't sleep.
As Zion leader Counselor Hammond points out, Neo's difficulty sleeping is an indication that he's not become some kind of perfect deity or machine.
It's a good sign. Of what? That you are in fact still human.
Near the end of The Matrix Reloaded, the two sides of Neo, the invincible, unmovable hero and the anxious, scared human, collide when he's forced to choose between his godlike duties as the One and his personal commitment to Trinity.
There are two doors. The door to your right leads to the source and the salvation of Zion. The door to your left leads back to the Matrix, to her and to the end of your species.
The Matrix Reloaded is about the problem of choice. The first Matrix already raised central questions about fate versus free will.
And don't worry about the vase.
What vase?
Would you still have broken it if I hadn't said anything?
In their first conversation together, Morpheus asks Neo how he feels about fate.
Do you believe in fate, Neo?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't like the idea that I'm not in control of my life.
The concept of choice in the Matrix trilogy is most famously embodied by the red and blue pills, representations of two potential approaches to life that Neo, and all of us, can take.
You take the blue pill. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
On one level, the red pill is a symbol for what the Matrix is all about, rejecting a reality where you're not in control and deciding to free your mind. And even as Neo turns out to fulfill the prophecy of becoming the One, the Matrix emphasizes that he still has to choose his destiny.
Being the One is just like being in love. No one can tell you you're in love, you just know it.
By the beginning of The Matrix Reloaded, though, the balance has shifted back toward the weightiness of fate.
It is our destiny.
Neo's fixed identity as the One has replaced Thomas Anderson's original identity as a slave of the system. Accordingly, that idea of himself overrides his own judgment. He's sitting around, waiting for the Oracle to call and tell him what to do.
I wish I knew what I'm supposed to do.
When that does happen and he meets with the Oracle, Neo seems to be given the next step of his destiny, going to the Source.
The machine mainframe.
Yes. Where you must go. Where the path of the One ends.
For much of The Matrix Reloaded, we might expect that this is the natural arc of the film. Neo will make it to the Source, and in doing so, he'll somehow gain the power to end the war between man and machine. And if this were how the movie went, that would pretty much deliver the same uplifting emotional journey of the first film.
That's why I have to go.
Why?
Because I believe in something.
Many, if not most of the other characters in The Matrix Reloaded see their fate as being somehow tied to Neo's quest for the Source, and to the destiny they believe he has.
It is my purpose. It is the reason I'm here. The same reason we're all here.
In the first Matrix, leader Morpheus is driven by faith in the One and the Oracle's prophecy. But in The Matrix Reloaded, we and the other characters double down on his fundamentalism.
I believe this night holds for each and every one of us the very meaning of our lives.
Even the Oracle, who has set Neo on his path, seems to have placed her faith in him to a greater degree than she already did.
You've made a believer out of me.
But in committing themselves to their sense of fate, destiny, and purpose, they also commit themselves to seeing the world the same way the movie's villains do.
She is going to die, and there is nothing you can do to stop it.
Take Smith, whose crusade of trying to homogenize and overtake the entire Matrix comes from his desperate obsession with purpose.
There's no escaping reason, no denying purpose, because as we both know, without purpose, we would not exist.
Or the Merovingian, who dismisses the possibility of making any choice.
Choice is an illusion created between those with power and those without.
And believes all things are determined solely by cause and effect.
Causality. There is no escape from it. We are forever slaves to it.
So the human characters are, we might say, thinking like programs. But that blind faith in destiny which unites the humans and their computerized counterparts crumbles when the architect confronts Neo with his true purpose.
You are here because Zion is about to be destroyed.
The architect embodies a traditional idea of God. He is an old white man with a beard who built the world, and he spends most of his time watching humans from a distance. His comprehensive, algorithmic knowledge of humanity allows him predictive power that approaches the supernatural.
You can't make me do anything. Like, prick!
So it's fitting that this godly figure here serves as a representation of external meaning, of the way that people seek purpose from something or someone outside of themselves, something they don't have to choose.
Failure to comply with this process will ultimately result in the extinction of the entire human race.
In the first Matrix, Neo originally expected to be told if he was the one or not. Then, throughout the Matrix Reloaded, Neo waits for someone to tell him his purpose. But when that happens, his purpose turns out to be letting thousands of people die, including Trinity, something the architect explains in dispassionate, obtuse language.
This will be the 6th time we have destroyed it. The function of the One is now to return to the source, allowing a temporary dissemination of the code you carry, reinserting the Prime program.
The supposed end of the war the prophecy foretells is, in fact, a reboot, a way of simply going through the cycle again.
After which you will be required to select from the Matrix 23 individuals, 16 female, 7 male, to rebuild Zion.
Yet, something gets in the way of the machine's business as usual restart and their mechanism for controlling the One, the unexpected twist of Neo's love for Trinity.
Your 5 predecessors were, by design, based on a similar predication. While the others experienced this in a very general way, your experience is far more specific, vis-a-vis love.
Trinity.
Even facing the impending destruction of Zion and the likely extinction of his species, Neo renounces the supposedly rational decision. His love is too strong. So in the end, Neo embraces radical free will. Not only won't he follow his given destiny, but he also rejects the limitations of the choice given to him entirely.
As you adequately put, the problem is choice.
While the architect presents like an all-powerful god, this overlord is really just part of another, larger system. The architect was created to fulfill a specific purpose by the machines, who were in turn created by modern humans.
You are the eventuality of an anomaly which, despite my sincerest efforts, I have been unable to eliminate from what is otherwise a harmony of mathematical precision.
So by rejecting this fake god, Neo must grapple with the revelation that there is no source, no central authority or deity that can confer ultimate meaning on his existence. And the purpose he chooses for himself is simply saving Trinity. The word existentialist gets thrown around a lot in pop culture, but this film's arc is literally the process one goes through as an existentialist, acknowledging the lack of an external source of meaning, and, after overcoming the crisis of that loss, embracing the opportunity to create meaning and values in your own life.
Neo goes from being in this sort of cocooned and programmed world to having to participate in the construction of meaning to his life.
In fact, the Wachowskis ground the Matrix in the work of proto-existentialist Arthur Schopenhauer.
When we wrote the Matrix trilogy, we had above our wall this amazing Schopenhauer quote that was the fundament upon all our knowledge and learning rests is the inexplicable.
When asking what to do in the face of a fulfilled or otherwise ignored purpose, there's a surprising place to look in the Matrix trilogy: computer programs. Creatures of the machine world that should ostensibly be the enemy of humanity. Like Neo, these programs were built to do one specific thing.
See those birds? At some point, a program was written to govern them. A program was written to watch over the trees and the wind, sunrise and sunset.
But our understanding of the world in the Matrix is complicated by these programs' fear of death and the choices they make.
Usually, a program chooses exile when it faces deletion.
The programs that are visible to humans in the Matrix, programs like Seraph, the Merovingian, and even the Oracle, are those who have consciously chosen to ignore their purpose or who have merely outlived it. Even the Merovingian's bodyguards have, like Neo, lasted longer than they were originally intended.
We come from a much older version of the Matrix, but like so many back then, they caused more problems than they solved. My husband saved them because they're notoriously difficult to terminate.
These programs have been given a new reason to live by the Merovingian, but absent his leadership, they would be in the same position as Neo, lost, looking for what gives them purpose. Neo emerges from his meeting with the architect determined to have it all his way. Not only does he catch Trinity as she falls through the air, he pulls the bullet out of her, then restarts her heart.
I'm not letting go. I can't.
It's the same thing Trinity did for Neo back at the end of the first Matrix, and it indicates the Wachowskis' broader perspective on Neo's abilities. The power of the One is less about completing an assigned destiny within the set parameters of a war than it is about ignoring those rules altogether and doing what you want because you want it.
I love you too damn much.
At the end of the movie, everyone is in a state of despair. Zion is facing down a massive army of Sentinels. Neo is reevaluating his existence as the One, and poor Morpheus has to question the story upon which he has built his entire life.
Everything was done as it was supposed to be done. Once the One reaches the source, the war should be over.
Eventually, with the destruction of the Nebuchadnezzar, everything Morpheus thought he knew has been taken from him.
I have dreamed a dream. But now that dream is gone from me.
Now what? If there's another ending comparable to The Matrix Reloaded's, it might just be that of Angel, the spin-off of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The series ends with Angel's assembled crew, full of characters who have rejected their original purposes, choosing to continue to fight for good and justice, even in the face of overwhelming odds.
And in terms of a plan, we fight.
For a moment near the end of The Matrix Reloaded, that's what the film seems to be leaving us with. The act of continuing to fight rather than the ability to win is the point. From there, though, the movie pivots. There is a chance to overcome the enemy.
Something's different.
The crew of the Nebuchadnezzar are attacked by Sentinels, forcing them to abandon ship. But Neo, now more deeply aware of his connection to the Source and of his abilities as the One, not to achieve some singular purpose, but as tools to let him achieve what he wants, is able to shut them down outside of the Matrix.
I can feel them.
How exactly Neo accomplishes this feat, what it will enable him to do next, and what will happen now that he's been connected to Bane, a living man overwritten with the Smith program, are questions for our next video.
It's the question that drives us, Neo.
Ultimately, Reloaded is a transitional movie, leading into the more explicitly spiritual themes of The Matrix Revolutions.
I see death, and you are all that stands in his way.
By the end of The Matrix Reloaded, everything the Resistance fighters thought they knew has been undercut.
What are we gonna do?
I don't know.
And likewise, the Wachowskis have unleashed a philosophical tremor on the viewers, capable of shaking up and toppling whatever you took away from the first movie.
So people get very upset, and they're like, stop attacking me, in the same way that people get upset with deconstructionist philosophy. I mean, Derrida and Foucault, these people upset us.
The first Matrix flatters us and asks us to identify with its hero, but once the hero loses his center of gravity, we lash out accordingly. Are people capable of moving past this kind of existential crisis? Can the revolutionaries who have long viewed all machines as enemies in a black and white us versus them mentality learn to work together with programs, people who are not even technically people?
I suppose the most obvious question is, how can I trust you?
The Matrix Reloaded answers with a resounding maybe, leaving the answer up to us.
Bad news is there's no way if you can really know whether I'm here to help you or not. So it's really up to you.
Judging from the original reception of the movie, it seems like many fans may have ignored that message. Will it continue to be rejected?
Once again, Thomas Anderson is consumed by the growing sense that something is wrong, meets a mysterious man named Morpheus, leaves his old world behind, and finds love with the fearless Trinity. Sound familiar? The Matrix Resurrections, the sequel released 18 years after the last film in the Matrix series, mirrors the story of the first Matrix, even concluding with nearly identical shots. But the repetition is the point. Resurrections thoroughly interrogates the original film and its legacy.
Beautiful. It's so beautiful.
It asks whether anything has improved as a result of the Matrix's message to free your mind, or if the mind control in our actual world has just gotten worse. And it makes a few key corrections or clarifications, like walking back from some of the binaries that may have been overemphasized in the originals.
They believed that it had to be us or them.
It also tackles what's been termed Trinity Syndrome by Tasha Robinson, the critique that as a strong female character, Trinity appeared very exciting but spent most of the narrative assisting a male protagonist's character development. Here, it's Trinity who gets to make the crucial choice, and by the end, even displays more characteristics of the One than Neo.
I'm not doing this. Are you doing this?
Ultimately, Resurrections is a romance above all. Here's The Matrix Resurrections ending explained, and how this story has always been about love conquering all.
There's a part of me that feels like I have been waiting my whole life for you.
Turns out in my Matrix, the worse we treat you, the more we manipulate you, the more energy you produce.
The original Matrix trilogy ends with Neo ending the war and offering humanity the chance to free itself. But in Resurrections, 60 years later, after the resulting energy crisis caused a machine civil war, the machines have once again enslaved humans for energy and controlled their minds. And the people inside the Matrix are more pliable and obedient than ever.
Sometimes it feels like people gave up. Like the Matrix won.
Even Neo and Trinity have been resurrected by the machines and plugged back into the Matrix. Neo believes he is Thomas Anderson, an extraordinarily successful game designer responsible for The Matrix. And Trinity believes herself to be a woman named Tiffany, a mother and wife to a guy named Chad. It sounds like a reference to the meme in the incel community of a handsome guy who's popular with women, but it also refers to the fact that he's played by Chad Stahelski, Keanu Reeves' stunt double from the original Matrix. This new Matrix was designed by the Analyst, the successor to the Architect, who's much more skillful at exploiting human feelings and subtler, less overt forms of violence.
His Matrix was all fussy facts and equations. He hated the human mind. So he never bothered to realize that you don't give a shit about facts. It's all about fiction.
This resurrected Matrix reflects fears that many things have gotten worse in our society.
The Matrix is the same or worse.
And the movie is more detailed than ever in illustrating how the illusory world we focus on every day is a lot like the Matrix. Neo has achieved everything our Matrix says we're supposed to pursue, but like many who find similar success in our world, he just finds himself working more hours and not really knowing what the end goal is.
A lot of hours. Most times, I don't know.
To most of us, being a successful programmer in a big city doesn't sound so bad, but that just reveals how we are buying into many of the Matrix itself's premises.
So what's it like being a world-famous game designer? Must be amazing.
That being wealthy, famous, and admired is what matters, even if you feel alone, unconscious, numb, and without purpose. When Neo eats a juicy steak by himself, it's a direct callback to the cowardly materialist Cypher. Trinity's plot illustrates how the Matrix exerts mind control pressure on women through ingrained ideas about what it means to be a good wife and mother, and therefore a good woman. The pressure of gender expectations making Trinity feel she should have a family makes it difficult for her to even access what she actually wants.
I remember wanting a family, but was that because that's what women are supposed to want? How do you know if you want something yourself or if your upbringing programmed you to want it?
And the demands of being a mother in a society that continues to put so much of the child-rearing load on women leaves her too tired to think about much else.
I should get more therapy, but honestly, I'm too goddamn tired. Kids are exhausting, you know?
Because it's a choice she never truly made. Her traditional family is her prison that inevitably takes over her life and produces noise whenever she approaches the truth.
I have to take this. Hi, this is Tiff. Oh, God, no. I'll be right there. My youngest stuck a Lego up his nose.
Come on, we gotta go. Tiff, hey. Don't know what's going on here, but I'm glad we found you.
She got hit by a car.
I know, it's crazy. She was chasing after you.
And by the end of the film, it's very clear how intentionally her family has been weaponized against her.
That was for using children.
Prescription drugs are literally equated to blue pills, and the mental health complex is shown to control Neo by falsely making him feel there's something deeply wrong with him.
Far from suggesting a repeat of your initial breakdown, I believe this episode demonstrates healthy self-protection.
Do you need a refill on your prescription?
It's a plot that alludes to how the pharmaceutical industry has influenced the exploding numbers of mental health diagnoses in recent years. And whether it's through making Trinity feel like a bad mom or making Neo feel his supposed mental illness is a danger to other people, the analyst is constantly using this society's conventional morality to guilt them into miserable compliance. No longer the young, unattached rebels they were in the originals, this Thomas Anderson and Tiffany believe they have responsibilities. Just as when we get older, we may find more and more reasons why it's not realistic to live the life we truly want.
It's too late.
Like the other people still trapped in the Matrix, Neo and Trinity allowed themselves to become distracted because it was easier than being vulnerable and trying to find each other.
At some point, I think I gave up searching for something real.
After all these years, to be going back to where it all started. Back to the Matrix.
Resurrections goes out of its way to constantly evoke and imitate the original trilogy. From big moments like the Red Pill Theater and the sparring match between Neo and Morpheus, down to the way scenes are framed and numerous actual clips that play or are intercut with new characters to tell us their relationships to the original ones. The main difference is that whereas in the first film he and we had to learn what the Matrix is, in this world people are constantly explaining the Matrix to him. So instead of being a dangerous, almost unutterable secret, the concept of the Matrix becomes banal, an entertainment and critique that can exist happily within the actual Matrix. Neo is forced by parent company Warner Brothers to think of a sequel to The Matrix, a somewhat autobiographical plot that alludes to how writer-director Lana Wachowski repeatedly refused to make this sequel before finally agreeing. The other creator of the original Matrix, Lily Wachowski, declined to be involved. Neo is miserable, literally trapped by his own success, drugged up on blue pills by corporate overlords who demand art that is both new and unsurprising.
Inside, you'll find the breakdown, including key word association with the brand. The top two being originality and fresh.
In interviews, Lana Wachowski describes Hollywood's need for sequels as hostile to originality. Artistically speaking, stories need an end to achieve completeness and meaning, but commerce demands that stories never end, as long as they can still be sold.
As you begin working on Matrix 4. And who knows how many more?
Like Lana Wachowski must have, Neo contends with a multitude of commercial voices telling him what the Matrix sequel should be. Just as the original trilogy was torn between heady philosophical insights and blockbuster violent spectacle, we hear a debate between those who argue people have always really come for the cars and guns.
I like my games big, loud, and dumb. We need guns. Lots of guns.
And those who argue the highbrow thought is the actual brand.
Mindless action is not on brand.
She's right. Matrix is mind-born. Ideas are the new sexy.
Through this self-referential humor, the early part of the movie digs into the thorny question of whether revisiting a beloved classic like The Matrix even can be more than a cynical cash grab.
This cannot be another reboot, retread, regurgitate.
Why not? Reboots sell.
With The Matrix specifically, this question is even more salient because it's about escaping a world that looks very much like modern capitalist, technology-saturated life. Thus, rebooting the franchise to simply make money is about as counter to The Matrix's central message as you can get. Even the fandom of The Matrix and positive dialogue about its legacy feel oppressive to Neo.
The first time I played the trilogy, I was shook.
Neo's handler, Jude, and Neo's other co-workers repeatedly tell him, and implicitly Lana Wachowski, what the story actually means, covering almost all the major popular readings of the film that we ourselves have discussed in videos.
Obviously, The Matrix is about
trans-politics.
Crypto-fascism.
It's a metaphor
Of capitalist exploitation.
Most of these readings have convincing elements, but here The Matrix Resurrections is making the point that declaring The Matrix to be only one of those things is reductive. Focusing too much on any single explanation is a trap wielded effectively by the analyst, who keeps Neo under control by offering him neat and tidy stories that explain away the odd things Neo notices.
Your sublimated anger toward your business partner cast him as your nemesis. A married woman named Tiffany became the trinity of a doomed romance.
And as we saw in the original, a key to getting freed from the Matrix is to look into the strange things you notice that feel off. Still, however much the earlier scenes express some mocking and resentment about the need to make a sequel at all, The Matrix Resurrections does exist. And the film ultimately repudiates its most cynical impulses, embracing the generation that grew up with the original. He may hate the focus groups, but Neo learns from his true fans. He bonds with and relies on the people who have come after and been inspired by him.
There's a lot of people out there like me who are a little bit obsessed with your life.
It's no coincidence that the film opens with Matrix superfan Bugs, who ends up becoming a key part of the story and helping the original Neo and Trinity find their way back to themselves, something that wouldn't have been possible without her nerdy obsession. Since it's absurd to think returning to the Matrix could ever be as powerfully original as the first film, the movie goes the opposite way and digs deeper into an ongoing dialogue about itself.
Nothing comforts anxiety like a little nostalgia.
I wasn't too sure about the callback, but it's just hard to resist.
And a major focus is how the next generation who grew up with these stories about Neo, Trinity, and Morpheus will implement its messages in their world. At the same time, The Matrix Resurrections is subtly correcting or clarifying a couple aspects of its narrative. It makes the point that binaries, which define the Matrix for many of us in the ones and zeros of binary code, the battle between humans and machines, or the way you're either in the Matrix or against it, are ultimately reductive and don't hold up.
When somebody offered me these things, I went off of binary conceptions of the world. And the woman with the pills laughed because I was missing the point.
In the new city of Io, humans live side by side with machine synthients, working together on projects neither would be able to do on their own, like reviving agriculture. And Niobe says there really isn't any clear-cut us or them when it comes to humans and machines.
This city was built by us. And them.
And the movie's new version of Morpheus is a program created by Neo, based on a combination of original Morpheus and Smith. If we look back, the original trilogy had already complicated the binary between humans and machines. The Matrix Revolutions showed programs that have the potential to feel love.
Every program that is created must have a purpose. I just have never heard a program speak of love.
In Reloaded, Counselor Hammond was acutely aware of how even Zion relied on machines.
I like to be reminded this city survives because of these machines. These machines are keeping us alive.
And from the beginning of The Matrix, there have been hints at the blending between humans and their digital antagonists, as Neo is frequently compared to the agents and Smith.
You moved like they do. I've never seen anyone move that fast.
But Resurrections takes all this further. The character who makes the Matrix heist and the climax of Resurrections possible is a program we met before, the adult Sati, played by Priyanka Chopra Jonas.
My father knew we'd meet again, though he would have wished for happier circumstances.
The young people we meet who were inspired by the Matrix weren't just shaped by the myth of the One, they were also inspired by Trinity.
All I ever wanted was to be as fearless as Trinity.
But Trinity's characterization has also garnered criticism over the years. In We're Losing All Our Strong Female Characters to Trinity Syndrome, Tasha Robinson described Trinity Syndrome as the hugely capable woman who never once becomes as independent, significant, and exciting as she is in her introductory scene. In much of the Matrix's narrative, Trinity mostly is either supporting Neo unconditionally or serving as a symbolic motivation for him.
You can't be dead because I love you.
It's debatable whether this critique is totally fair when you look at the arc of the original trilogy. In the original Matrix movies, Neo and Trinity save each other repeatedly. Pretty much everyone is there to support Neo since they believe he's the one, but that doesn't mean Trinity doesn't know her own mind or have her own sense of purpose.
I believe if you are really serious about saving him, you are going to need my help. And since I am the ranking officer on this ship, if you don't like it, I believe you can go to hell.
And her wisdom, athletics, and understanding of love have always been pretty amazing. But if Resurrections may not exactly be correcting Trinity Syndrome, it's at least trying to clarify that Trinity is just as important to the picture as Neo. At the end, Resurrections reverses the dynamic of the original Matrix.
I never believed I was the one. But she did. It's my turn to believe in her.
The plot hinges on the attempt to free Trinity from the Matrix, and everything rests on her choice.
The most important choice in Neo's life is not his to make.
The movie's climax is Neo trying to convince Trinity to remember who she is and come back to him. At one point, Neo could control the laws of nature within the Matrix, but even he can't make another person love him, and it's important that when Trinity initially says no, Neo accepts that.
It's too late.
I understand.
Whereas her Matrix husband Chad tries to force her to leave with him. Seeing Neo and Trinity unconscious and alone, to use the analyst's words, reduced to just average people full of self-doubt and trying to be like everyone else, underlines that it's truly their love that makes them superpowered. Once again, their love conquers everything. But something is different. Now it's Trinity who displays several of the abilities of the One. Like Neo, she can see the code that comprises the Matrix itself. But where Neo's vision was originally presented in stark colors, classic black and green, or a blinding gold light, Trinity sees the code laid on top of the Matrix. She can reject the stark dichotomy of real and unreal and see both for what they really are. The movies had already complicated the question of whether Neo is the One, and if so, whether that identity is fated or chosen of free will.
The prophecy was a lie. The One was never meant to end anything. It was all another system of control.
And while the original Matrix suggests that Trinity falling in love with Neo is prophesized because he was already the One,
The Oracle told me that I would fall in love and that the man that I loved would be the one.
it's also possible to interpret this in a different way. Trinity's love is what makes Neo the One, at least at first. In Resurrections, having been separated from that love, Neo feels less superhuman than ever. He can no longer fly.
I don't suppose he can still fly?
Yeah, that's not happening.
But eventually, they have all the power in the world together. And at last, the ending of the first Matrix film of just Neo being able to fly is updated to show them ascending into the sky as a pair. Even the analyst recognizes the power of their connection, but wants to hoard it and manipulate it for his own ends.
Every sim where you two bonded, let's just say bad things happened.
In fact, their relationship and the power of love to conquer death is the reason the Resurrections exist. Lana Wachowski decided to return to the characters of Neo and Trinity as a way of processing personal losses. Many of the younger characters are played by actors from the Wachowskis' Netflix series Sense8 that explores many of these themes of love and identity. In Sense8, no one has to be the one because their Sense8, a group of 8 people who share experiences and work together, is never truly alone, an experience mirrored by Bugs and Trinity briefly sharing a body. Neo expresses anxiety about returning to his previous role as a hero.
What if I can't be what I once was?
But with the help of Bugs, Satsi, and the rest of the Nemesine's crew, he doesn't have to be the one, he can be one of many. The real essence of the Matrix's one story, which mirrors the Christ narrative, is that the most powerful force in our lives is love. Love is the only thing that really matters, the only thing we should never live without. Yet, we're constantly bombarded by influences that tell us it's not a priority.
Quietly yearning for what you don't have, while dreading losing what you do. For 99.9% of your race, that is the definition of reality.
A key reason the Matrix remains in control is that on some level, many people don't want to center love in their lives.
The sheeple aren't going anywhere. They like my world. They want to be controlled. They crave the comfort of certainty.
But like the Matrix, Resurrections ends with the hope that at least some of us will be inspired to seek something new, something special, and dare to break free of the mental prisons that on some level we can sense are there. We've been given another Matrix movie. What we do with it is up to us. That's The Take. Click here to watch a video we think you'll love, or here to check out a whole playlist of awesome content. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications.